This is all for fun, baby, for fun.
Because it's not for anything else.
Yeah. I'm sorry. You know, if I had it, I'd give it, but I can't.
No. You're giving us a great deal.
All right, guys. Tonight we are reading Butterflies Are Free. Oops, Jerry, it's by whom?
It's by, hang on, Leonard Gershe.
Thank you. Tonight playing Don Baker.
Jerry Williams.
Playing Jill Tanner.
Rachael Schefrin.
Playing Mrs. Baker.
Liz Bove.
And playing Ralph Austin.
Neil Feigeles.
Act 1, Scene 1. Don Baker's apartment on the top floor of a walk-up on the Lower East Side of Manhattan. There is a bed which is raised some 6.5 feet from the floor and reached by a ladder. Under the bed is a door leading to the bathroom. From the bed is a window and a small bookcase with a few books in it. Above the bed is a skylight, dirty with age. From this bed, we can make out some posters and photographs pinned to the wall. Just left of center is the front door. Right of this is the kitchen with the sink, stove, cabinets, and a vintage refrigerator. Down from the kitchen is an old clawfoot bathtub. A slab of wood has been fitted over the tub to serve as a dining table. There are a couple of cheap stools around the table tub. Right is the door leading to the next apartment. In front of this is an old chest on which there are some glasses and a couple of bottles of wine. Just below the table tub, there is an old faded sofa. In front of this is a wood crate which serves as a coffee table. Down center, there is a canvas campaign chair. And down of this, a low rattan stool. There's a telephone on the coffee table along with an ashtray, a pack of cigarettes, and a book of matches. A lighting fixture of colored glass hangs over the table tub. Down right, there is a thin post which supports a beam. Before the curtain rises, we hear Don Baker's voice singing on a tape recorder.
I knew the day you met me, I could love you if you let me. Though you touched my cheek and said how easy you'd forget me. You said, da-dee, da-dee, da-dee.
At rise, it is a warm day in June. The sun pours in through the skylight. Don is leaning against one of the bedposts, drinking a glass of water and listening to himself on tape. He is in his early 20s, lean and good-looking. He wears a brown button-down shirt and suntan. His hair is neatly combed. The phone rings. He looks toward the phone and speaks to it in a tone indicating he has said this hundreds of times.
I'm fine, thank you. How are you? It's warm here. How is it in Scarsdale? Well, it's warm here too. Hello, Mother. I just knew when you call, the phone doesn't ring. It just says, M is for the million things she gave you. I'm fine, thank you. How are you? It's warm here. How is it in Scarsdale? Well, it's warm here too. The apartment is great. I love it. Last night? I didn't do anything last night. I mean, I didn't go out. I had some friends in, a little party. I don't know how many people were here. Do you have to have a number? 12 and a half. How's that? No, they didn't stay too late. When? No, not this afternoon. I don't care. Come to town and go to Saks, but you're not coming down here because we agreed to 2 months, didn't we? What? No, I didn't turn on my radio. It's coming from next door. I don't know. A girl. She just moved in a couple days ago. I don't know her name. I haven't met her. It's her radio. Don't worry, it won't go on. Yes, I'll tell her. No, I don't want you to tell her. Just go to Saks and go home. I can hardly hear you. We'll talk tomorrow. Goodbye. Hey, would you mind turning down your radio?
Sorry? I couldn't hear you.
I just wanted you to turn your radio down. You don't have to turn it off. Just lower it, please.
Well, I haven't gotten a radio. It's television.
Well, whatever. These walls are made of paper.
I know. Kleenex. How about a cup of coffee?
No thanks, I just had some.
I meant for me.
Sure. Come on in. It's open.
Hi, I'm Jill Tanner.
Don Baker.
I hope you don't mind me inviting myself in. Would you do the zipper on my blouse? I can't reach it back there. Whew, your living room is bigger than mine. How long have you been here?
A month. This isn't the living room. This is the apartment. That's all there is, except I have a big bathroom.
I've got 3 rooms if you count the kitchen. I just moved in 2 days ago, but I didn't sign a lease or anything, just by the month. God, you're neat. Everything is so tidy.
It's easy when you haven't got anything.
Huh. Well, I haven't got anything, but it managed to wind up all over the place. I'm afraid I'm a slob. I've heard the boys are neater than girls. Ooh, I like your skylight. I don't have that. What's this?
What?
This thing on stilts.
Oh, my bed.
Your bed? Wow! This is wild.
Do you like it?
This is the greatest bed I've ever seen in my life. And I've seen lots of beds. Did you build it?
No, the guy who lived here before me built it. He was a hippie. He liked to sleep high.
Suppose you fall out. You could break something.
You could break something falling out of any bed. Cream or sugar?
No, just black.
I could have had your apartment, but I took this one because of the bed.
I don't blame you. You know, I buy flowers and dumb things like dish towels and paper napkins, but I keep forgetting to buy coffee.
Is it hot enough?
Great. This will save my life. I'll pay you back someday.
You don't have to.
Do you need any dish towels or paper napkins?
No.
I've got lots of light bulbs too. Everything but coffee. May I ask you a personal question?
Sure.
Why don't you want your mother to come here?
How did you know that?
Well, if you can hear me, I can hear you. I think the sound must go right through the door. What's that door for anyway?
Your apartment and mine were once one apartment. When they converted it into 2, they just locked that door instead of sealing it up. I guess in case they ever want to make it one again.
You didn't answer my question.
I forgot what you asked.
Why don't you want your mother here?
It's a long story. No, it's a short story. It has just been going on a long time. She didn't want me to leave home. She thinks I can't make it on my own. Finally, we agreed to letting me try it for 2 months. She has to keep away from me for 2 months. I've got 1 month to go.
Why'd you tell her you had a party here last night?
Boy, you don't miss anything in there, do you?
Not much.
I always tell her I've had a party or went to one. She wouldn't understand why I'd rather be here alone than keeping her and the cook company. She'll hate this place. She hates it now without even seeing it. She'll walk in and the first thing she'll say is, I could absolutely cry.
Does she cry a lot?
No, just threatens to.
Well, if she really wants to cry, send her to look into my place. At least you're neat. You're old enough to live alone, aren't you? I mean, I'm 19. How old are you?
As far as my mother's concerned, I'm still 11, going on 10.
We must have the same mother. Mine would love me to stay a child all my life, or at least all her life, so she won't age. She loves it when people say we look like sisters. If they don't say it, she tells them. Have you got a job?
Not yet, but I play the guitar and I've got a few prospects.
I heard you last night.
Sorry.
No, it was good. First, I thought it was a record till you kept playing the same song over and over.
I can't read music, so I have to learn by ear. I'm trying to put together an act.
Ooh, then what?
Then I'll try to cash in on some of those prospects. I know one thing. I ain't going back to Scarsdale.
What is Scarsdale?
You don't know Scarsdale?
I don't know much about the East. I'm from Los Angeles.
Scarsdale's just outside of New York, about 20 miles.
Is that where you live?
No, I live here.
Scars.
Where I used to live.
Scarsdale. It sounds like a sanitarium where they do plastic surgery. Is there any more coffee?
Plenty.
Oh, I can get it.
I'm up. What did you say your name is?
Jill Tanner. Technically. I guess I'm Mrs. Benson. I was married once, when I was 16.
16? Did you have your parents' permission?
Oh, my mother's. I told her I was pregnant, but I wasn't. She cried her eyes out. She hated the thought of becoming a grandmother. I'll bet I know what you're thinking.
What?
You're thinking, I don't look like a divorcee.
No, I wasn't thinking that. What does a divorcee look like?
Oh, they're usually about 35 with tight-fitting dresses and high-heel patent leather shoes and big boobs. I was just like a kid in custody fight.
How long were you married?
God, it seemed like weeks. But actually, it was 6 days. I wasn't Jack's fault. It wasn't anybody's fault. It was just one of those terrible mistakes you make before you stop yourself, even though you know it's a mistake while you're doing it.
What was he like?
Jack? Oh, I really can't talk about him.
Then don't. I'm sorry.
No, I will talk about it. Once in a while, it's good for you to do something you don't want to do. It cleanses the insides. He was terribly sweet and groovy looking, but kind of adolescent. You know what I mean? Girls mature faster than boys. Boys are neater, but girls are mature faster. When we met, it was like fireworks. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but it was a marvelous kind of passion that made every day like the 4th of July. Anyways, the next thing I know, we were standing in front of a justice of the peace getting married.
How long had you known him?
2 or 3 weeks, but we were getting married. I hadn't even finished high school, and I had 2 exams the next day, and they were on my mind too. I heard the justice of the peace say, "Do you, Jack, take Jill to be your lawfully wedded wife?" Can you imagine going through life as Jack and Jill? And then I heard "till death do us part," and suddenly it wasn't a wedding ceremony. It was a funeral service.
Jesus.
The wedding ceremony is very morbid when you think about it. I hate anything morbid. And there I was, buried alive, under Jack Benson. I wanted to run screaming into the night.
Did you?
No, I couldn't. It was 10 o'clock in the morning. You couldn't go screaming out into 10 o'clock in the morning, so I passed out. If only I'd fainted before I said I do.
As long as you were married, why didn't you try to make it work?
I did try, believe me. I tried for 6 days, but I knew it was no good.
Were you in love with him?
In my way.
What's your way?
I don't know. I think because you love someone, that doesn't necessarily mean you want to spend the rest of your life with them. But Jack loved me. He really, really loved me. And I hurt him, and that's what I can't stand. I never want to hurt anybody. Marriage is a commitment, isn't it? I just can't be committed or involved. Can you understand?
I understand, but I don't agree.
Then you don't understand, really. Oh, what is this? Maybe if I got it wrong, boys mature faster and girls are neater.
What do you mean?
Or maybe you know something I don't know. All ashes are good for the table. Is that what you keep dropping them there?
Did you move the ashtray?
It's right here. Are you blind?
Yes.
What do you mean, yes?
Yes, I'm blind.
You're putting me on.
Nope, I'm blind. Always been blind.
Really blind? Not just nearsighted.
The works. I can't see a thing.
God. I hope I didn't say anything.
Now, don't get self-conscious about it. I'm not.
Why didn't you tell me?
Just did.
I mean, when I came in.
You didn't ask me.
Ask? Why would I ask? I mean, I don't know. I don't go into somebody's house and say, "Hi, I'm Jill Tanner. Are you blind?"
Right. And I don't meet a stranger and say, "Hi, Don Baker, blind as a bat."
I think you should have told me. I would have told you.
Well, I wanted to see how long it would take for you to catch on. Now you know. Do you want to run screaming into the night or just faint?
How can you make jokes?
Listen, the one thing that drives me up the wall is pity. I don't want it. I don't need it. Please don't feel sorry for me. I don't feel sorry for me, so why should you?
You're so adjusted.
No, I'm not. I never had to adjust. I was born blind. It might be different if I'd been able to see and then went blind. For me, blindness is normal. I was 6 years old before I found out that everyone else wasn't blind. By that time, it didn't make much difference. So let's relax about it, okay? And if we can have a few laughs, so much the better.
A few laughs? About blindness?
No, and not about blindness. Can you just forget that?
Oh, I don't know. You're the first blind person I've ever met.
Congratulations. Too bad they don't give out prizes for that.
I've seen blind men on the street, you know, with dogs. Why don't you have a dog?
They attract too much attention. I'd rather do it myself.
But isn't it rough getting around New York? It is for me.
Not at all. I manage very well with my cane. I've got so I know exactly how many steps to take to the grocery, the laundry, the drugstore.
Where's the laundry? I need one.
Next to the delicatessen, 44 steps from the front door.
Well, I didn't see it.
I'll show it to you.
What about here in the apartment? Aren't you afraid of bumping into everything? You could hurt yourself.
I've memorized the room. Bed, bathroom, bookcase, guitar, my cane.
What are those books?
Braille, front door, tape recorder, dining table, bathtub, chest of drawers, wine, more wine, glasses, linens, kitchen, dishes, cups, glasses, coffee, sugar, salt and pepper, cornflakes, ketchup, etc. Now if you'll put back the ashtray. Voila. And if you don't move anything, I'm as good as anyone else.
Better. God, I can't find anything in my place. The ketchup usually winds up in the stocking drawer. My stockings are in the oven. If you really want to see chaos, come and look at... I meant...
I know what you mean. Relax. I'm no different from anyone else except that I don't see. The blindness is nothing. The thing I find hard to live with is other people's reactions to my blindness if they'd only behave naturally. Some people want to assume guilt, which they can't because my mother has that market cornered, or they treat me as though I were living in some Greek tragedy, which I assure you I'm not. Just be yourself.
I'll try. But I've never met a blind person before.
That's because we're a small, very select group, like Eskimos. How many Eskimos do you know?
Well, I never thought blind people would be like you.
You're not all like me. We're all different.
Well, I mean, I always thought blind people were kind of, you know, spooky.
But of course, we sleep all day hanging upside down from the shower rod. As soon as it's dark, we wake up and fly into people's windows. That's why they say blind as a bat.
No, seriously. Do blind people have a sixth sense?
No. If I had 6 senses, I'd still have only 5, wouldn't I? My other senses, hearing, touch, smell, maybe they're a little more developed than yours, but that's only because I use them more. I have to.
Boy, I think it's just so great that you aren't bitter. You don't seem to have any bitterness at all. Oh, I've moved. I'm sitting on the sofa now.
I know.
How did you know?
I heard you, and your voice is coming from a different spot.
Wow. How do you do that?
It's easy. Close your eyes and listen. You know where I am?
There. Hey, it works. Oh, you're really something. I think I'd be terribly bitter if I couldn't see. I should be disagreeable.
No, you wouldn't.
I wouldn't be cheerful like you. I don't know any marvelous qualities like courage and fortitude.
Neither have I. I'm just naturally adorable.
Well, you're more than that. I can tell you're a much better person than I am.
Are you speaking of me or Gunga Din?
I would not go gentle into that good night. I would rage against the dying of light.
Dylan Thomas.
Who?
That's a line from a poem by Dylan Thomas.
It is? You mean I can quote Dylan Thomas?
You just did.
How about that? Huh, I've never even read him. I don't know where I learned it. I can quote Mark Twain. Do you want to hear my favorite quotation? It's by Mark Twain.
Go ahead.
I only ask to be free. The butterflies are free. Mankind will surely not deny to Harold Skimpole what it concedes to the butterflies. I identify strongly with butterflies. Do you like that quotation?
Yes, but it's not by Mark Twain.
Why not?
Because it was written by Charles Dickens.
Are you sure?
Yes, Harold Skimpole is a character in Bleak House by Dickens.
Well, I've never read Dickens. Well, actually, I've never read Mark Twain either, but I always thought he wrote that. Have you read? Oh, damn it.
Yes, I've read Dickens and most of the things by Mark Twain, and stop falling apart with every word. They're published in Braille.
But it's awful to think ask someone blind if he's read something.
As a matter of fact, I read very well. With my fingertips. Just ask me if I've felt any good books lately.
Do people ever read to you?
Yes, magazines and newspapers.
Would you like me to read to you sometime?
Sure, but you don't have to. Say, do you have any dirty books?
No.
Too bad. That's the only thing they don't publish in Braille.
Which magazines do you like?
Things like Time and Newsweek. I like to know what's going on in the world.
I should read those too. I never know what's going on in the world. I guess I don't care.
Don't say that. Animals care. Vegetables don't. You have to care about something or you're nothing.
Food.
You care about food?
I think about it a lot.
I suppose that's something.
You have to know a lot about some things to care about them, and I don't really know a lot about anything.
You sure don't need any enemies, do you?
Let's say I know my limitations.
That's half the battle. If you know your limitations, you can do something about them. I think you have a lot more potential than you know.
Now keep telling me that.
Keep telling yourself that. I knew the day you met me, I could love you if you let me. Though you touched my cheek and said how easy you'd forget me. You said butterflies are free, and so are we.
Oh, wow, that's wonderful. That's the song you were singing last night.
I wrote it. I've been working on it, but I could never get those last lines right.
Butterflies are free, and so are we.
What do you think?
It's terrific. I know a little about music. I studied it in school.
Did you finish school?
I finished high school, just. My mother wanted me to go to college. I was going to UCLA, but I couldn't find a place to park. Have you ever been to Los Angeles?
No. I hear the climate's great.
The climate is great, but the weather is lousy. I guess it's a good place to live with gardens and pools and all that. I like it better here. People say New York is a great place to visit, but they wouldn't want to live here. What could be groovier than living in a place that's great to visit?
What made you come here?
Nothing made me come. I just thought I'd like to try something different. I think I'm going to be an actress. I say I think. I'll know later this afternoon. I'm auditioning for a new off-Broadway play.
Good part?
I guess so. It's the lead. It's about a girl who gets all hung up because she's married a homosexual. Originally, he was an alcoholic, but homosexuals are very in now, so they changed it. Are you a homosexual?
No, just blind.
They are in everything now. Books, plays, movies. It's really too bad. I always thought of them as kind of magical and mysterious, the greatest secret society in the world. Now they're telling all the secrets, and you find out they're just sad, mixed up like everybody else. Do you know any homosexual?
I doubt it. I've been in Scarsdale all my life.
Well, one of my best friends is gay, Dennis. He's a designer. He made this blouse.
I'm sure it's pretty.
Actually, he made it for himself, but I talked him out of it. Dennis is campy and fun, but I don't like lesbians. They're so heavy and humorless. If guys are called gay, the girls should be called glum.
Tell me about the play. Does the girl convert the husband?
Almost. But in the end, he runs off with her brother.
So her husband becomes her sister-in-law.
Something like that. Or she becomes her own sister-in-law. I have a good chance of getting the part. The director is a friend of mine, but I have to be approved by the author.
Who's the director?
Oh, you wouldn't know him. His name is Ralph Austin. He's done a few plays here, but he's never had a hit. He started in LA doing off-Broadway plays on Hollywood Boulevard.
That's what I'd call off-Broadway.
Well, we kind of made it together for a few months, but then he wanted to get married. I couldn't face that again.
Were you in love with him?
I don't think so. I don't think I've ever really been in love with anyone. I don't want to be. It's too confining, and somebody's always gets hurt. Are you hungry?
Not very. Are you?
Oh, my appetite embarrasses me. I told you I think about food a lot and care deeply. Why don't I go down to the delicatessen and get something? I know exactly where it is. 44 steps from the front door.
That's the laundry. The delicatessen is 51 steps. I've got things to eat.
What have you got?
Some bologna and salami and coleslaw, and I think there's some potato salad.
Boy, you are a delicatessen. Can you shop for yourself?
Sure.
I mean, I know you can tell a dime from a quarter, but how do you know the difference between $1 and 5?
This is a 1, right?
How do you know?
Because it's folded once. If it were a 5, I'd fold it again like this. And a 10, I'd fold once more.
Oh.
Got it?
What about 20s?
Who's got 20s?
Can I do something?
There are some knives and forks in the chest of drawers. You can set the table.
Oh, let's don't eat at the table. Let's have a picnic.
Where?
On the floor.
Okay, set the floor.
Is blindness hereditary?
I've never heard that.
Can your father see?
I doubt it. He's been dead for 6 years. Up to then, he didn't have any trouble.
I'll bet you miss him.
Very much. He was the only friend I had growing up. He was the kind of man who would have been my friend even if he hadn't been my father. You know what I mean. But it's been rough on Mom since he died because Mom felt she had to be mother and father. My sister and brother and cousin and uncle and doctor and lawyer, senator, congressman.
I get it. Why were you born blind? Did the doctor say why?
They said it was a virus in the womb when Mother was pregnant, which means they don't know. Whenever they don't know something, they label it virus.
I've heard that women with syphilis will give birth to blind babies. Could your mother have had syphilis?
Wait till you meet her, then tell me what you think.
When will I meet her?
In a month. I've got 1 month before she comes down here to see what's going on. As the clock strikes month, she'll walk in the door. You may have heard of her. She wrote some books. Her name is Florence Baker.
Sound familiar, but you can't go by me. I could be quoting her and wouldn't even know it.
They were a series of children's books. Guess what they were about?
Children?
A blind kid named Little Donnie Dark.
Little Donnie Dark?
That's me.
Boy, you'll say anything to get attention.
It's true, I swear. I hate the name Donnie. Tell me when to stop.
Stop. Just a minute.
Where are you going?
You'll see. Tell me about little Donnie Dark. It might curb my appetite.
Donnie is 12 years old and was born blind like me. Only it's no handicap to little Donnie Dark. He can drive cars and fly planes because, you see, his other faculties are so highly developed that he can hear a bank being robbed a mile away, and he can smell the communists cooking up a plot to overthrow the government. He's a diligent fighter of crime and injustice, and at the end of every book, as he's being given a medal from the police or the CIA or the FBI, he always says, there are none so blind as those who will not see.
Well, I didn't know the police and the FBI gave out medals.
They give them to little Donnie Dark. They'd better.
Boy, let's have a drink.
I've only got wine.
That's all I drink.
With bologna?
With everything. Do children really read those books?
Shh, I'm counting, so I don't step in the picnic when I come back. 15 steps.
I could never do that. I'd wind up with both feet in the coleslaw.
No, you wouldn't.
I speak from experience. Did you ever play Pin the Tail on a Donkey?
I've heard of it.
We always played it at birthday parties when I was a kid. I remember Julie Patterson's birthday. I guess I was about 7. She blindfolded me and started me for the donkey, and I stuck the pin smack into Mrs. Patterson's ass.
Oh, no. Well, donkey, ass. It's all the same, isn't it?
Not to Mrs. Patterson, it wasn't. She never believed I didn't do it on purpose. I didn't have to. I mean, if you knew Mrs. Patterson's ass, well, you couldn't miss it. Just no way. But you've won every prize there, you couldn't miss it, just no way. But you've won every prize there. My language gets a little raunchy sometimes. I hope you don't mind 4-letter words like ass. I'm ready for more.
More what?
Little Donnie Dark. Is she still writing them?
No. She wrote about 6. They were pretty popular. No Mary Poppins, but pretty popular. Unless you happen to be blind. They didn't exactly tell it like it is.
I'm taking some of the bologna.
I guess the books were sort of a projection of what my mother hoped I'd be, a sightless Superman.
Where did you go to school?
In the living room. I was taught by tutors who teach the blind.
I thought there were schools for blind children.
There are, but I didn't know that. I didn't know much of anything until about a year ago.
You've just finished your bologna. What happened a year ago?
A family named Fletcher moved near us, and their daughter Linda used to come by to read to me. She was the first friend I had after my father died. She was great, a real swinger. She used to drive me down here and introduce me to people and take me to parties. All of a sudden, I was living and learning. At home, I was like a pet in a cage. Linda gave me something nobody ever thought to give me: confidence. She talked me into making the break, and she found this place for me. At first, I was scared to death, but I did it. Maybe it was a mistake. I don't know.
No, it wasn't. You've got to make that break sometime. Your mother isn't going to live forever.
Don't tell her that.
Look at someone like Helen Keller. She was blind and deaf and dumb, but she became Helen Keller. What became of Linda?
She got married a few weeks ago, and she's living in Chicago. I wish she were here. It would be a lot easier.
Well, listen. I'm here. I'm right next door. Anytime you need me, just knock. You don't even have to knock. Just whisper and I can hear you. Hey, you know what?
What?
Why don't we open this door?
Which door?
This door to my apartment. There must be a key for it. Let's unlock it. Then we can go back and forth without having to go into the hall.
The super probably has a key. But I don't think we ought to ask him. No, I don't think we ought to do that.
Why not? We're friends, aren't we?
But we'd be practically living together. How would it look? Who cares how it looks? I can't see anyway.
I'll bet we can open with this big knife.
We'll have to move the chest.
Move it toward you. That's fine.
What's on the other side?
My bedroom. Well, this isn't working. Boy, a burglar can just smile at a lock and opens it, but honest people like you and me?
Hey, I heard something click.
Oh, that was just me. I went, damn. Maybe we better call the super.
Let me try. I felt something.
Suddenly, the door
You did
opens.
it! Oh, don't look. It's an absolute pig. It's an absolute pigsty.
I won't.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Stop being sorry.
I'll get the hang of it. I don't know when. Let's leave it open.
Okay, but tell me if you close it again. I don't want to break my nose on it.
Do you wish it were Linda living there instead of me?
I never thought about it. Why do you ask?
I was wondering if you're still in love with her.
Did I say I was in love with her?
Well, if I get too personal, just tell me to shut up. I get carried away. Were you in love with her? Are you?
Every man should have some mystery. That'll be mine.
What's she like?
She's very pretty.
How do you know?
I can feel someone's face and get a good idea of what they look like. I can tell from shapes and textures.
Do you wonder what I look like?
Yes.
I'm gorgeous.
Really?
I wouldn't lie about something like that.
You know, I've always thought if I could see for just half a minute, I'd like to see how I look.
I'll tell you, cute and very sexy.
Don smiles and reaches a hand to Jill's face. Gently, he runs his finger on the side of her face, exploring. He runs his hand over the top of her head and takes hold of her long hair, lightly pulling it through his fingers.
Your hair is very soft and very long.
Suddenly, Jill's long hair, which is a fall, comes off in Don's hand, revealing her own hair underneath. Don is startled as he feels the limp hair in his hand.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, don't be frightened.
What happened?
It's just a fall. It's a piece of hair that you attach to your head.
It's not your hair?
It's not even my fault. I borrowed it from Susan Potter. I have my own hair. See? I mean, feel.
God, now what?
Oh, damn, a false eyelash.
Oh,
Don't you have eyelashes?
Of course, but these are longer than mine. They make my eyes look bigger. Didn't Linda wear them?
No.
She probably has natural long eyelashes. I hate her. Go on.
This is scaring the hell out of me.
It's all right. Everything's real from now on.
Don runs his fingers across Jill's mouth.
Am I not the image of Elizabeth Taylor?
I've never felt Elizabeth Taylor.
We look exactly alike. Especially if she can't see. Especially if you can't see.
Jill smiles at Don oddly as his fingers explore her throat. She takes his hand and places it on her breast.
That's my breast. All mine. Both of them.
Gently, she pushes him down on the table. She kisses him full on the mouth. Don twists his head away from her and gets off the table. Suddenly, anguish crosses above the end of the sofa.
Well, what's the matter?
What do you think is the matter?
If I knew, I wouldn't ask.
Why are you doing this? Is it be kind to the handicapped weak or something? Don't patronize me and don't feel sorry for me.
Well, I'm doing it because I want to do it. And I'll be goddamned if I feel sorry for any guy who's going to have sex with me.
They kiss and sink into the sofa. The lights fade slowly. The curtain is lowered for 1 minute to denote the passing of 2 hours. Over this, we hear Don playing his guitar and singing his song. Act 1, Scene 2. When the curtain rises, the remnants of the picnic lunch are still on the floor. Jill's blouse lies in a heap on the floor at the up end of the coffee table. Her jeans and sandals are on the floor by the up end of the sofa. Her fall is on the up end of the sofa, partially hidden by Don's shirt and trousers, which are draped over the arm of the sofa. Jill is in her apartment. Don, dressed only in his jockey shorts, is on the bed. He is playing his guitar and singing.
On that velvet morning, as our love was forming, I said you couldn't hurt me if you left without warning. I sell butterflies are free, and so are we.
I can't find it. I can't find anything in this mess.
What are you looking for?
Never mind, it's here somewhere. Oh, I found it.
What is it?
My secret box. I take it with me everywhere. Here, feel it.
Beautiful wood.
And mother of pearl.
What are you keeping it?
Everything important to me. This is a piece of the moon or a star. I found it in the desert. I showed it to the geologist who said they'd never seen any mineral like it on Earth, and it probably fell here from the moon or maybe a star.
It feels like a rock.
I know, but it isn't. One of my baby teeth, my birth certificate, a picture of me when I was in the Mikado in high school. That's not a very good one anyway. My last will and testament.
Your last will and testament?
And the instructions for my funeral. My entire estate is to be divided equally among whoever are my 4 closest friends when I die. Names to be filled in later.
I thought you didn't like anything morbid.
But that's the point. It isn't morbid. Funerals don't have to be morbid. I want mine in a large church, but I want all the pews and seats removed and just lots of big cushions for people to lie on. I don't want anyone dressed in black. They should all be in gay, bright colors and far out clothes, and they should all be drinking or smoking pot or whatever they like. I want Salvador Dali to paint the walls with lots of groovy pictures. And I want tons of flowers, but not formal wreaths, just tons of wild flowers strewn everywhere.
And butterflies?
Oh, yes, lots of butterflies. And I want music going all the time. I want the Beatles to write a special memoriam for me and sing it. And I want the Rolling Stones to sing, and Simon and Garfunkel, and the Doors, and the Vienna Boys Choir.
And me.
And you. And you.
How about a eulogy?
Yes, to be delivered by Sidney Poitier. I love his voice. And at the same time, I want Andre Previn playing Ave Maria on the organ. And if he can't come, maybe Leonard Bernstein. There's nothing morbid about that, is there?
Not at all.
Oh, here it is. A present for you.
What is it?
What does it feel like?
A necklace?
They're love beads. I wore them when I was a hippie. You ought to wear beads if you're going to play the guitar.
Nobody told me.
Donovan wears them, and Jimi Hendrix.
What else should I wear?
Oh, some kicky clothes. Wild. And your hair doesn't exactly blow the mind.
What's wrong with it?
Oh, I can fix it.
What's wrong with it?
The way you comb it, it's a little square, but I can fix it. I know there's a comb here. Is there anything left to eat? I'm starving.
So soon?
Is it awful? Isn't it awful?
There should be a couple of apples.
Well, there's an awful lot of lettuce, which is not exactly what I was dreaming of. I only see one apple.
It's yours.
Thanks. Come on, sit here. Just sit still.
I don't know that I want to look like a hippie.
You're not going to look like a hippie. You're going to look hip.
When were you a hippie?
I guess I was right after my marriage. I used to hang around Sunset Strip and smoke pot and say things like, down with the fuzz, and don't trust anyone over 30, that whole bit. I just did it because somebody was doing it. Then I stopped because everybody was doing it. I felt I was losing my individuality, whatever that is. The main thing, of course, was to protest against my mother, but it didn't work. I mean, I walked in one day and my long hair and stringy, wearing far out clothes and beads and sandals, she loved it. The next day, she had stringy hair and far-out clothes and beads and sandals. Well, I mean, how can you protest someone who's doing the same thing you are, right? So I went the other way and joined the Young Republicans of Ronald Reagan. Another mistake. There's no such thing as a young Republican. There. You look terrific.
It doesn't look too wild, does it?
No. It gives you charisma.
What do you mean?
It's like pizzazz, star quality. It's better than talent. If you have charisma, you don't need anything else. They line up for you around the blocks. You're beautiful, you know? I mean, you're a beautiful person inside as well as out.
I like you too.
I feel I ought to tell you something.
What?
Well, before, when I put your hand on my breast, were you shocked?
Sort of. I don't mean from the standpoint of morals or anything. I was just surprised to be feeling a girl's breasts when I wasn't expecting to.
I wouldn't like you to think that I was going around putting men's hands on my breast.
No, I didn't think you were.
If I want to go to bed with a guy, usually I just have a little smile so that lets them know that I'm interested.
Oh yeah? You want to feel that smile, is that it?
I can't do it now. I mean, you're making me laugh. I'll do it later. But I had to use a different approach with you, didn't I? Well, I didn't want you to think I was terrible.
I didn't. I don't.
I hate talking about sex, but I thought maybe you'd like to know that you're, well, really groovy.
Like the 4th of July.
Like the 4th of July and like Christmas.
Where are you going?
I'm going to finish this apple and maybe I'll have some lettuce.
She crosses to the kitchen and puts the apple on the counter, then crosses to the fridge, opens the door, and looks in. Don rises and starts up the ladder to his bed. The door opens quietly and Mrs. Baker enters. She's an attractive woman, well-dressed and carrying a Saks Fifth Avenue box. She smiles at Don silently. Jill turns, sees Mrs. Baker, and in her effort to hide her near nudity, slams the refrigerator door and tries to hide behind the pipes by the sink. Mrs. Baker turns to look at Jill for a moment. She completes the turn, looking back at Don, scowling with disapproval. Don sits on his bed, aware of someone new in the room.
Hello, Mother.
Blackout. End of Act 1. Act 2, Scene 1. The same a moment later. Don is sitting on the bed, gritting his teeth and trying not to show his annoyance. Jill is still peeking out from behind the pipes by the sink. Mrs. Baker is looking at Don.
I'm glad I found you in, Donnie.
Jill, this is my mother.
Your mother? Have I been here a month?
Mother, this is Mrs. Benson.
How do you do?
How do you do, Mrs. Benson? Are you living here too?
Well, I live next door. I just stopped in to ask Donna. I had trouble zipping in my blouse.
Ah, so I see. Where is your blouse?
It must be here somewhere. There it is. You see, I have this long zipper in the back. It's hard to do alone.
Put your things on.
All right, Mom. What are you doing here? We had an agreement.
I was in the neighborhood.
You were at Saks, which is on 50th Street and 5th Avenue. This is 11th Street between 2nd and 3rd.
I bought you some shirts and I thought you'd have them sooner if I brought them myself.
I don't need any shirts. You just brought them as an excuse to come down here.
Would you mind, please?
And this is what you left home for?
This is it.
Buckingham Palace, is it?
No, it's the Taj Mahal.
Is this where you eat? On the floor?
We were having a make-believe picnic.
It's fun eating on the floor, Mom. You ought to try it.
Where did this furniture come from?
Some of it came with the apartment, and some of it I picked up in a junk shop.
Oh, don't tell me which is which. Let me guess. What in God's name is this?
I don't know what you're looking at.
Oh, that's my apartment.
Have you ever thought about hiring a maid, Mrs. Benson?
I can manage. I may be sloppy, but I'm not dirty. There's a difference between sloppy and dirty.
I'm glad to hear that.
So she's not Craig's wife.
Has this door always been open?
No, it's always been locked. I opened it this morning.
What on earth for? What on earth is that?
Now what are you looking at?
That's what I'd like to know.
It's your bed.
My bed.
Isn't that great?
You actually sleep up there?
Like a baby.
What happens if you fall out?
I go to the ladder and climb up again.
Where are your clothes?
There's a closet and a chest of drawers in the bathroom.
And where is the bathroom? Under the bed?
That's right.
Of course it is.
Boy, were you ever right?
About what?
You never had syphilis. I'm surprised she had you. Why did you introduce me as Mrs. Benson?
I don't know. It makes you sound more important.
What is she doing?
Testing the plumbing. She's a nut about plumbing.
Shh. You know it was your mother when she came in. She didn't make a sound.
Mel,
What is that?
it's called Numero Dix, and she uses half a bottle at a time. I always know when she's around.
It's like having a bell on a cat. Now what is she doing?
Checking the drawers to see if I have enough socks and underwear. She's a nut about socks and underwear. What she's really doing is gathering up evidence to hit me with and try to make me come home. I was so sure she'd walk in and say, I could absolutely cry. She let me down.
She's not finished. She'll say it.
No, she'd have said it by now. I know all her routines.
What do you want to bet she says it? How about dinner tonight? If she doesn't say it, we eat in my place and I pay. If she says it, we eat it here and you pay.
It's a bet. And you might as well start shopping.
Oh, that's some bathroom. No wonder you hide it under the bed.
Gee, I thought you were going to say something else.
I haven't finished. I haven't even started.
Well, say it and get it over with.
Well, there's only one thing to say.
Here it comes.
Perhaps it's a blessing that you can't see what you're living in.
Right, Mom. I count that blessing every time I come in the door.
Donnie, can I be honest?
Can you?
This is it.
I am shocked and appalled.
I lose. 7:30, all right?
Perfect.
There's no tub in the bathroom.
It's under the dining table.
I could absolutely cry.
You win. Hamburgers all right?
Okay, but at least 2 each.
I'm just not talking about this rat hole, Donnie. I am talking about you, too. You're so thin. You've lost weight.
I haven't lost anything. I'm exactly the right weight for my height. 6'1", and my age, 11.
I'd like to see what you're eating. There's nothing in here but lettuce and an apple.
Where?
Behind the lettuce.
I knew there was another one.
Tell me, where is Mr. Benson?
Who's Mr. Benson?
I assumed he was your husband.
Oh, Jack. Well, I don't know. Last time I saw him, he was sitting outside of a hamburger hamlet on the strip. Why?
I was curious about your marital status.
I haven't any.
Jill is divorced.
How old are you, Mrs. Benson?
19.
Ah. 19. And you've already been married and divorced?
Yeah. But don't you think I should be allowed to vote?
I think you should be allowed to run. How long were you married?
6 days.
And on the 7th day you rested?
No, I split. I have to change now. I have an audition.
Oh, an audition for what?
A play, an off-Broadway play.
I was speaking to Mrs. Benson.
A play. An off-Broadway play.
Then you're an actress?
Well, yes.
Might I have seen you in anything besides your underwear?
Well, not unless you went to Beverly Hills High School. I was in the Mikado. I played Yum Yum.
Yes, I'm sure you did.
And about a year ago, I did a TV commercial for Panacin.
What is Panacin?
Well, you know, it's for acid indigestion.
No, I didn't know. One of the few problems I don't have is acid indigestion.
There are givers and there are takers.
You're asking for it, Donnie. Does your mother know where you are?
Sure.
And does she approve of the way that you're living?
What way am I living?
Mom, are you conducting some kind of survey?
And you're going to get it? I'm sure Mrs. Benson doesn't mind answering a few questions. Do you, Mrs. Benson?
Well, I have this audition.
What does your father do?
Which one?
How many fathers have you?
4. 1 real and 3 steps.
Your mother has been married 4 times?
So far, we live in Los Angeles.
Then you come from a broken home?
Several.
Oh, why does your mother marry so often?
I don't know. I guess she likes it. I mean, she likes getting married, obviously. She doesn't like being married. I'd better get started, okay? See you later, Don.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Don't forget, 7:30 here.
What happens at 7:30 here?
Jill and I are having dinner together.
Mrs. Benson.
Just the two of us. Alone.
Mrs. Benson, I think you've forgotten something.
What is it?
Susan Potter's hair.
Did you have to be so goddamn rude?
Was I rude?
All those questions. What are you, the Attorney General of Scarsdale?
I think I have a right to know something about my son's friends.
Let's talk about my rights. You are not supposed to be here for another month. Why did you have to come today, huh?
Since when do you speak to me like this?
Since when do you come sneaking into my room like this?
I didn't come sneaking in. The door was unlocked.
You could have knocked. I thought it was a raid.
It should have been. Why don't you lock your door?
Until I know my way around town, until I know my way around the room, it was easier to let people come in on their own. But it'll be locked from now on.
I thought my coming here would be a pleasant surprise for you. Had I known I'd be treated like the Long Island Railroad.
You'd have come anyway.
And I'm glad I did. My worst fears have been realized.
Thank heaven. My worst fear was that your worst fears wouldn't be realized. Can you imagine if you came here and liked it? We'd have nothing to talk about.
Did you have to choose such a sordid neighborhood?
To me, it looks just like Scarsdale.
There are lots of nice people up in the 60s and 70s. May I ask you a personal question?
No.
Have you slept with this girl?
I thought you'd never ask. Yes,
As if I didn't know.
If you knew, why did you ask?
And now I know why you're so anxious. to have a place of your own. Not because you want to do something constructive with your life. Oh, no. You just want a place where you can have orgies night and day.
No, Mother. Two's company, three's an orgy.
I know you, Donnie. You've got that Linda Fletcher look on your face again. You're going to fall in love with this girl, too?
Maybe I will. Does it bother you that I'm heterosexual?
Mrs. Benson is not exactly the sort of girl a mother dreams of for her son.
Mom, I'm not interested in the girl of your dreams.
She's obviously a stupid girl.
Not at all. She even quotes Dylan Thomas.
How wonderful. I can assure you Dylan Thomas never quoted her.
Oh ho!
And she's not at all attractive.
Oh, come on now.
She has beady little eyes like a bird and a figure like a pogo stick.
You've just described the girl of my dreams.
You can't see the difference between good and bad. I can. I can see people's faces. I can see into their eyes. You can't.
Ah, but I can see past their eyes into their souls. Leave us not forget little Donnie Dark and all that vision.
You don't know what you're talking about. You've never been exposed to life.
Whose fault is that? Whose fault is it I didn't go to school with other kids?
How could you?
There are schools for blind children.
We could afford to have you taught at home. I thought that was better than sending you all off with a bunch of blind children like a leper.
Is that how you see me? Like a leper?
Of course not.
Come on, Mom. Deep down, haven't you always been just a little ashamed of producing a blind child?
Nothing to be ashamed of.
Embarrassed, then.
You have never given me reason to be embarrassed by you.
Knock at the door.
Come in.
I hate to bother you.
What's wrong?
Just another zipper. I think you're winning. Hang in there. Thank you.
She'll be a great help to you. She can't even dress herself.
That's where I can help her.
Donnie, I have a wonderful idea. You come on home with me, and I'll have your bed raised. There's a ladder in the garage.
Nice try, Mother, but it just wouldn't be the same.
All right. If you insist on staying here, I will not support you. What are you doing?
Calling the Daily News. What a story! Florence Baker refuses to help the handicapped.
I'm serious, Donnie.
Oh, then I'll call the Times.
What are you going to do for money? The little you save must be gone now.
I have some left.
And when that's gone?
I can always walk along the street with a tin cup.
Now you are embarrassing me.
Don't worry, Mom. I'll keep away from Saks.
Just stop all this joking. I want to know what your plans are.
I'm going to sing and play the guitar. I'm pretty good. You've said so yourself.
I didn't know you were planning to make a career of it. Have you any idea of the competition you're facing?
I have just as good a chance as anyone else. Better. I have charisma.
May I ask how you arrived at this brilliant decision?
It was elementary, my dear mother. By the process of elimination, I made a lengthy list of all the things I couldn't do. Like, commercial pilot. I don't think TWA would be too thrilled to have me fly one of their planes. Nor United. Nor Pan Am. Photographer? A definite out. Along with ball player and cab driver, Matador didn't strike me as too promising. I have considered becoming an eye doctor, but that would be just a case of the blind leading the blind. That's a little joke. I said it was little.
I suppose Linda Fletcher put this guitar idea into your head.
You might say she was instrumental. That's another joke, Mom.
Mm-hmm.
You'd better start laughing at something or people will think you're a lesbian.
You've certainly picked up some colorful language, haven't you?
You can learn anything down here.
Yes. Well, I think you've learned enough, young man. I hardly recognize my own son.
What are you doing?
I'm doing what I should have done long ago. I'm taking you home.
Forget it, Mother. There's no way.
You cannot stay here alone.
I'm not alone. I have friends.
I don't think that you've fooled me with all your parties. There are no parties. You have no friends.
I have now. I have Mrs. Benson.
You'd be better off with a seeing eye dog.
They're not as much fun. Anyway, I've got a seeing eye mother.
That's right. And she's taking you home. Mrs. Benson will just have to learn to dress herself.
Put that suitcase away.
You're coming home, Donnie.
Give me that suitcase.
Lunges across to where he heard where the suitcase is placed. Mrs. Baker lifts the suitcase from the coffee table, closes it. Don crosses between the coffee table and the sofa, trying to find the suitcase.
Where is it? Give me that suitcase, Mother. Give it to me.
Mrs. Baker stands staring at Don, as iron-willed as he. Suddenly, a wave of resignation comes over her. She takes Don's hand and places it on the suitcase handle. Don grabs the handle, carries the suitcase to the bathroom, opens the door, throws the bag in, closes the door. His tension ebbs, and he crosses path again.
Mom, please stop worrying about me. I'm going to be all right. If the music doesn't work out, I can always study law or technology. There are lots of things blind people can do now, so don't worry anymore. Well, I have to go, Mom. Thanks for dropping by.
Where are you going?
I have to do some shopping. I told you, I'm having dinner in tonight with Mrs. Benson. Just the two of us, alone.
I'll wait till you come back.
I don't want you to wait. Have a nice trip back to Scarsdale, and I'll call you tomorrow. Now, please, I don't want to smell you here when I get back.
I was planning to stay for dinner.
Your plans have changed. Like I said, it's me and Mrs. Benson, just the two of us, alone.
And after dinner, I suppose an orgy?
I hope so. At least the sinister truth is, at last the sinister truth is revealed. Little Donnie Dark is just a dirty old man.
Exits. Mrs. Baker looks about the room with frustration. She crosses to the picnic lunch, picks up the tray, and carries it to the counter.
Mrs. Benson.
Yes?
Could you come in here for a moment, Mrs. Benson?
Well, I have my audition. I should leave in 15 minutes. I mean, I don't know New York, and I get lost all the time.
Oh, don't you worry. I'll see that you get off on time. I thought you and I might have a little talk. You know, just girls together. Please, sit down. Would you like a cup of coffee, tea?
No, thank you. But if the apple is still there,
I'm sure it is.
where's Don?
Shopping. You must be so careful to wash fruits and vegetables, you know. They spray all these insecticides on everything now. I'm not at all sure the bugs aren't less harmful. I like apples to be nice and shiny.
This reminds me of something. What is it?
I have no idea.
You handing me the apple, nice and shiny. Oh, I know, Snow White. Remember when the witch brought her the poisoned apple? Oh, yes, Mrs. Baker. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that the way it sounded. I know you're not a witch.
Of course not. And I know you're not Snow White.
Oh,
I have to wait hours before I read. You know, I'll probably starve to death before their eyes.
You're going to get that part, you know.
What makes you so sure?
Well, you're a very pretty girl, and that's what they want in the theater, isn't it?
Well, I'm not really pretty. I think I'm interesting looking in a certain light. I can sort of lovely, but I'm not pretty.
Nonsense. You're extremely pretty.
I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not. I've got beady little eyes like a bird and a figure like a pogo stick. Well, aren't you going to deny you said that?
How can I, dear? Obviously, you heard it.
Well, there are plenty of things you can put me down with. You don't have to put me down with lies.
You know what I like about you?
Nothing.
Oh yes. I like your honesty, your candor. You're really quite a worldly young woman, aren't you, Mrs. Benson?
Well, I suppose I am. I wish you wouldn't call me Mrs. Benson.
Oh, isn't that your name, Mrs. Benson?
But you don't have to say it as though you mean it.
I'm sorry. Why don't I call you Jill? That's more friendly, and I'll try to say it as though I mean it. Now, Jill, you were telling me about your childhood?
I was?
It must have been very interesting having so many fathers.
Well, it was actually. All my mother's husbands were so different, so I was exposed to all kinds of ideas about life and world affairs, even religion. You know, my real father was a Methodist. The next one was Christian Scientist. The third one was Jewish, and then the last one was Episcopalian.
Doesn't your mother like Catholics?
Oh, yes, she likes them, but Catholics aren't allowed to marry her for some reason.
I would imagine she got an X rating from the church.
Well, too bad. She's really very nice.
I'm sure she is. So it's your childhood that has made you so worldly and understanding.
Yes. And being so worldly and understanding, Mrs. Baker, I can tell that you didn't ask me here to discuss my childhood or to tell me how pretty I am.
I was interested in seeing what you and Donnie might have in common. He likes you very much.
And I like him very much. He may very well be the most beautiful person I've ever met. Just imagine going through life, never seeing anything, not a painting or a flower, or even Christmas card. Oh, I want to die, but Don wants to live. I mean, really live. And he can even kid about it. Oh, he's fantastic.
Then you would want what's best for him, wouldn't you?
Now we're getting to it, aren't we? Like, maybe I should tell him to go home with you? Is that it?
Donnie was happy at home until Linda Fletcher filled him with ideas about a place of his own.
Maybe you just want to believe that he can only be happy with you, Mrs. Baker. Well, there are none so blind as those who will not see. There. I can quote Dylan Thomas and little Donnie Dark.
You constantly astonish me.
Well, we women of the world do that.
Funny how like Linda you are. Donnie is certainly consistent with his girls.
Why do you call him Donnie?
It's his name. I say it as though I mean it. Don't I say it as if I mean it?
He hates being called Donnie.
Oh, he's never mentioned it.
Well, of course he has. You just didn't listen. There are none so deaf as those who will not hear. You could make up a lot of those, couldn't you? There are none so lame as those who will not walk. None so thin as those who will not eat.
Do you think it's a good idea for Donnie to live down here alone?
I think it's a good idea for Don to live wherever he wants to. And he's not alone. I'm here.
For how long? Have you got a lease on that apartment?
No,
So you could leave tomorrow if you felt like it.
that's right.
You couldn't sustain a marriage for more than 6 days, could you?
My marriage doesn't concern you.
It didn't concern you very much either, did it?
Yes, it did.
Have you thought about what marriage to a blind man might be like? Not even your mother has covered that territory.
Well, suppose we leave my mother out of this, huh?
I'm sorry. I didn't know you were so touchy about her.
I'm not touchy about her. I just don't want to talk about her.
All right. We'll talk about you. You've seen Donnie at his best in his room, which he's memorized. And he's memorized how many steps to the drugstore and to the delicatessen. But take him out of this room or off this street and he's lost. He panics. Donnie needs someone who will stay with him and not just for 6 days.
You can stop worrying, Mrs. Baker. Nothing serious will develop between Don and me. I'm not built that way.
But Donnie is built that way.
Oh, please. We're just having kicks.
Kicks? That's how it started with Linda. Just kicks. But Donnie fell in love with her. And he'll fall in love with you. Then what happens?
Well, I don't know.
Then don't let it go that far. Stop now before you hurt him.
Well, what about you? Aren't you hurting him?
I can't. I can only irritate him. You can hurt him. The longer you stay, the harder it will be for him when you leave. Let him come with me, and you go have your kicks with someone who won't feel them after you've gone.
Well, I'm not so sure you can't hurt him. Maybe more than anybody. I think you deserve all the credit you can get for turning out a pretty, marvelous guy, but bringing up a son, even a blind one, isn't a lifetime occupation. Now, the more you help him, the more you hurt him. It was Linda Fletcher, not you, who gave him what he needed most, confidence in himself. You're always dwelling on the negative, always what he needs, never what he wants, always what he can't do, never what he can. What about his music? Have you ever heard the song? Have you heard a song he wrote? I'll bet you didn't even know he writes songs. You probably dead right about me, but I'm not the ideal girl for Don. But I know one thing, neither are you. And I'm going to tell anyone to go home, and it'll be you, Mrs. Baker. You go home.
Curtain. Act 2, Scene 2, the same night. The dining table is set for two, including Jill's basket of flowers and some votive candles, lighted. There is a stool at either end of the table. Don is sitting on the floor by the downright post, sorting tapes and putting them in boxes. The tape recorder is next to them. Mrs. Baker is in the kitchen by the refrigerator. She slams the refrigerator door, opens the oven door and slams it, and opens the cabinet door.
Oh, Mom, what are you doing in there?
I'm looking for some wax paper to wrap the meat in so it doesn't spoil.
I haven't any wax paper, and the meat won't spoil.
Oh, this meat looks terrible.
Who asked you to look at it? Why don't you get out of the kitchen?
What time is it? Midnight?
It's only 20 to 10.
Only 20 to 10?
I know. She's undependable and unreliable. She's everything. What else is new?
You did say 7:30. I heard you.
Listen, you don't have to hang around, you know.
I'll just wait until she comes. I'm not going to interfere with your orgy. I told you that.
No, I told you that. Mom, please turn it off. I want to hear if she comes in.
Is that the song you wrote?
Yes. Well, it's not finished. How'd you know I wrote it?
I didn't. I just asked you.
Oh,
It's good. Pretty.
you mean pretty good?
No, I mean good and pretty.
Wow.
He looks toward his mother with some surprise as he moves again to Jill's door. Mrs. Baker crosses to the ladder.
Where do you suppose she is?
Probably still auditioning.
For 6 hours? I'm worried about her.
You're worried about Jill?
Well, aren't you?
Something's come over you. First you liked my song, now you're worried about Jill, and you haven't mentioned my coming home for hours. Are you all right?
Don't I seem all right?
No. You're not behaving like Supermom. Next thing you'll be telling me you like Jill.
I don't dislike Jill. I just wish she were a different sort of girl.
She is a different sort of girl. That's what you don't like.
When I was her age, punctuality meant something.
What did it mean?
It meant that if I were going to be 3 hours late for dinner, I'd call and explain.
You would never be 3 hours late.
No, I certainly would not.
You'd be a month early.
You know, she might be lost. She said she always loses her way around New York.
Any cab driver could bring her home. She never said she loses her way around New York.
Oh, yes, she said it to me.
If she said it to you, I'd have heard it.
Well, I guess it was after you went out.
He was in here while I was out?
Yes. It seems to me she was. Yes.
Why?
The usual. She wanted her dress zipped up.
You did that while I was here.
She just stopped in, that's all. She was only here for a minute.
What did you talk about?
I don't remember.
You remember she loses her way around New York. What else did you talk about?
Well, what does it matter?
If it doesn't matter, then tell me.
Donnie, please don't shout at me. We talked about Snow White.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs? That's Snow White?
Is there any other?
Why are we talking about her?
What difference does it make why we were talking about Snow White? We didn't say anything bad about her.
I don't like you talking to my friends behind my back.
It wasn't behind your back. You weren't even in the room. Donnie,
What?
did Linda Fletcher give you confidence?
Mother, you know damn well what Linda Fletcher gave me, so don't be funny.
I wasn't being funny. Did she also give you confidence?
Yes.
Didn't I?
You gave me help.
I always thought one led to the other.
Not necessarily, I guess.
Why didn't you tell me you didn't like to be called Donnie?
I told you 1,000 times.
I'd remember something I heard 1,000 times.
Maybe it was only 100. What's this all about? Why all these questions?
What's wrong with Donnie?
It reminds me of little Donnie Dark.
And what's wrong with that?
You work on it.
Well, what would you like to be called? I'll try to remember.
Don. Donald. You can call me Sebastian or Irving. I don't care. Anything but Donnie.
I'm not going to call you Sebastian or Irving. I'll try to remember to call you Don.
Interrupted by voices from Jill's apartment. They both turn towards Jill's door. As the noise grows louder, we can hear laughter and conversation. Jill's voice and a man's. None of it is intelligible. Mrs. Baker crossed through the kitchen to Jill's door and listens.
She's home. Okay, Mom, you can go now.
There's a man with her.
Stop listening at the door.
I can't hear anything. They're at the other end, but there's a man with her.
That's probably the television you hear.
Why would she be laughing and talking with the television set?
Mom, please come away from there.
I am away from there.
There's a loud knock.
Come on in.
Oh, hi, I'm back. I brought Ralph Austin with me. Oh, Mrs. Baker, you're still here. Don, this is Ralph Austin. I told you about him. He's directing the play. Ralph, this is Dawn. And Dawn's mother, Mrs. Baker. I told Ralph all about you, and he was anxious to meet you.
Hi, Ralph.
Unmute.
Well, Ralph, don't be shy.
Hey, Jill, tell me how with it? How adept you are for someone for someone who can't see.
You can say blind, Ralph. It's in my vocabulary too.
Oh, yes. I should have known that. Jill told me you have no hang-ups about the thing.
Ralph, you don't have to shout.
Mr. Austin, my son is not deaf.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It happens all the time. People think if you can't see, you can't hear.
He can hear a lot better than we can.
No, I can't.
And what a sense of smell.
Can I fix something before I go? Can I fix you something before I go?
Ooh, we've had dinner, but I wouldn't mind some coffee if it isn't too much trouble.
You were expected for dinner, Jill.
Oh, Don, I'm sorry.
All right.
Our flowers and candles. It's so beautiful. Well, there you are. That's me for you. I just completely forgot. We went to Ralph's place after the audition to celebrate, and we drank a whole bottle of champagne or whatever food was.
It was sparkling burgundy.
Then you got the part?
Yes and no. I'm not playing the wife.
What are you playing? The homosexual?
No, his secretary. It's a small part, but I've got one good scene.
Jill did a really great audition. Man, I was really proud of her.
God, I was nervous. It wasn't the reading, but imagine having to stand out there completely and totally naked.
Oh, sorry, I broke a cup.
Oh, can I help you?
No, thank you. It's already broken. How many coffees?
None for me.
I don't want any.
Why did Jill have to be naked for the audition?
Because there's a lot of nudity involved in this play, we had to see the actors' bodies. The visual here is very important. I hope you don't mind me saying that.
Not at all.
How do you take your coffee, Mr. Austin?
Just black, please.
Now, I don't think anyone can call me a prude.
I'd like to see them try.
Well, at first, I hated the idea of being completely undressed. But there were like 40 or 50 actors all around me, all naked. I was the only one with clothes on. Well, how would you feel?
Warm, all over.
I was out front with my writer and my producer, and the minute we saw Jill naked, we knew she wasn't right for the lead.
Tell me, Mr. Austin, is there any story to this play, or is that too much to hope for?
Oh, it has a very dramatic story, Mrs. Baker.
I die at the end.
Pneumonia?
It's going to be a wild scene. I'm a genius at this kind of thing. Jill will be lying there on the stage dying of an overdose of heroin. She's in agony, writhing across the stage on her back, screaming one word. She screams it over and over and over.
What's the word?
Did you have to ask?
Well, I don't know if I should use it here.
You're going to use it on the stage, but you don't know if you should use it here?
That's all right, Ralph. You can say it. What's the word? Maybe you'd better not, Ralph. Do you think the public is ready for this kind of thing?
Are you kidding? They're dying for it. I'm talking about the thinking public, not those giddy little tight-ass matrons from Scarsdale.
Oh,
Have I said something wrong?
Pick anything, Mr. Austin.
Ralph, Mrs. Baker lives in Scarsdale.
Oh, well, present company accepted.
I don't wish to
Isn't
be
that the rule?
I don't wish to be accepted. Thank you, Mr. Austin. Tell me, what is the name of this play?
It's called Do Unto Others.
I must remember that. I'd hate to wander in by accident.
Well, you might like it if you gave it a chance, Mrs. Baker. I mean, see it with an open mind.
I should warn you, my mother hasn't liked anything since The Sound of Music.
Well, the play isn't really dirty. I wouldn't be in a dirty play. It's true to life.
Not Mom's life.
This play is really good. It just needs polishing.
I'd said scrubbing.
Sorry, I lost my spot.
Well, with this play, anybody would. There's no...
Mrs. Baker, these things are all a part of life.
No.
We'll just have to try to make it without the support of Scarsdale.
Well, I wouldn't count on this giddy little matron, Mr. Austin. I don't intend to pay money to see nudity, obscenity, and degeneracy.
Mrs. Baker, these things are all a part of life.
I know, Mr. Austin. So is diarrhea, but I wouldn't classify it as entertainment.
Listen, Ralph, if this play is going to be closed by the police.
Don't worry. It'll run for 2 years, and I wouldn't be surprised if it made a star out of you.
Wouldn't it be groovy to see Jill Tanner up in lights?
Jill Tanner?
Benson is my married name, but I'm using my real name, Tanner. Please remember it. I mean, it would be terrible if I became a star and nobody knew it was me.
I've got to get going. Steve is coming over with some rewrites. How long will it take you to pack?
Well, not long, but you go ahead.
Oh, wait. You're not going to take forever. How many bags have you got?
Only 2, but it'll take me a while to find things.
I can only let you have one closet.
Are you going somewhere?
What, didn't I tell you? I'm moving in with Ralph. I thought I mentioned it.
No, you didn't.
Well, Ralph thought it'd be a good idea to move in with him.
It was your idea.
I mean, it doesn't matter whose idea it was. It was a good one. I'm not really moving away, Don. I mean, it's not far from here. Oh, where is it?
Off Christopher Street.
Is that far?
Across town.
See? Ralph has a terrific studio apartment, something like this, with a skylight. He hasn't got a bed like yours, but it's really great. Wait till you see it. I mean, we want you to come over whenever you like. Don't we, Ralph?
Sure. We'll consider you one of the family.
I told you you'd like Don. We'll have some groovy times over there. You're going to love Ralph. He's one of us. I wish you could see him. He has a good face, strong and noble. Let Don feel your face. He can tell what you look like by feeling your face. It's a really kind face.
Go ahead, Don.
He doesn't want to, Mr. Austin.
Ralph turns to look at Mrs. Baker. Jill looks at Mrs. Baker. Jill takes Don's hand and places it on Ralph's face. Don runs his fingers over Ralph's face. He pulls his hand away quickly. Jill crosses away.
Well, it's been great meeting you, Don. See you soon, I hope. Don't take long, hon. Oh, nice to have met you, Mrs. Baker. I apologize if I offended you.
Oh, that's quite all right, Mr. Austin. I can assure you it won't happen again.
Hon?
Well, I better get packed. I'll drop in and say goodbye before I leave.
Mom? Mom, are you here?
Yes.
I have something to tell you. You better sit down.
Is it something awful?
No, you'll like it, but you better sit down.
I'm sitting.
I want to go home. Will you get the car and I'll pack? Did you hear me?
Yes,
Why don't you say something?
I intend to. I'm collecting my thoughts.
Can't you do that while you get the car? I won't take long.
Just a minute. I think we ought to talk about it.
Talk about it? I thought you'd be dancing with joy about it. Isn't that what you wanted? Isn't that why you came here today, to take me home?
Yes.
Then what is there to talk about? God, we've been talking about it all day. You said this place isn't Buckingham Palace. You said I was living in a rat hole.
And you said it's the Taj Mahal. You said this is your home now. Why aren't you dancing with joy?
Are you saying you don't want me to come home?
No. I'm only saying we should talk about it. Don't misunderstand me. I still think this place is dreadful, and I doubt if I'll ever like it. But I didn't choose to live here. You did. You couldn't wait to have a place of your own. You rushed into this, and now you want to rush out. I think we should talk about it.
Isn't it amazing that you and I think exactly alike, but never at the same time? I can't make it, Mom. I really don't think I'm going to be able to make it.
Why? Because a girl has walked out on you?
2 girls. Let's don't forget Linda.
And it may be 10 girls. Girls walk out on sided men too, you know.
Is that supposed to make me feel better?
It's supposed to make you stop feeling sorry for yourself. You've never felt sorry for yourself before. Please don't start now. You're going to meet a lot of girls. One day you'll meet one who is capable of a permanent relationship. Jill isn't. She knows this herself. I think you're better off staying here. I don't want you coming home discouraged and defeated. You've got your music.
Oh, Christ, Mom. Come once and for all, get it into your head. I am not little Donnie Dark. I am discouraged. I am defeated. It's over.
Do you remember the first Donnie Dark story?
No.
You were 5 years old. We were spending the summer on Lake Winnipesaukee. Dad took you into the lake. It was the first time you'd been in any water deeper than a bathtub. You were terrified. They could hear you screaming all over New Hampshire. Dad brought you in, and I put you to bed. You trembled for hours. That night, I told you a story about a little blind boy who could swim the 7 seas and could talk to the dolphins.
Yeah. And the dolphins told him about enemy submarines on their way to destroy the United States Navy, and Donnie Dark swam home in time to save them. What a load of crap.
The next day, you learned to swim. I didn't write those stories hoping for a Pulitzer Prize in literature. I wrote them because I found a way to help you. Whenever you felt discouraged or defeated, I told you a Donnie Dark story, and you tried a little harder, and you did a little better. Shall I make one up now? Or are you man enough to handle this situation yourself?
A month ago, you didn't think I was man enough. You said I wasn't ready to leave home. Why have you changed?
I don't know that I've changed. You're not the boy who left home a month ago. I came down here today hoping you were. It's hard to adjust to not being needed anymore, but I can do it now. So you get on with your own life. I'd like to see you have some decent furniture. You need some dishes and some glasses. I'll send some down to you.
Okay.
And some linens. You could use better ashtrays. This place might not be so bad if you fix it up a little. Can I help you fix it up a little?
Sure.
I'll call you in the morning and we'll talk about it.
Mom,
Mhm.
I'm glad you came.
I love you, Don.
I know, Mom. I know you do. Hey, how are you doing?
I think I made it. Listen, I left those new dish towels there and the light bulbs if you want them.
I don't need them.
Well, I'll donate them to the apartment. Oh, and here's the key. I'll leave it here on the table. Will you give it up? Will you give it to the super? I guess you'd better have him lock this door again.
I'll wait and see who moves in. It might be someone groovy.
Oh, yeah, I hope so. Well, let's don't have a big goodbye or anything. I'll be seeing you.
Can you stay a minute?
Well, once I'm going somewhere, I like to get going. You know what I mean?
I'm the same way. I was just going to have a corned beef sandwich on rye. Want one?
Or once I'm going somewhere, I like to get going unless someone offers me a corned beef sandwich on rye.
How about a beer?
Sure. The candles are still lit.
I know. I'm very religious.
Where's Mama?
She went home.
I didn't hear her leave. What was the verdict?
She accepted my Declaration of Independence.
You're kidding.
I gotta hand it to her. She put up a great battle.
Maybe she should have won. I mean, maybe you would be better off at home.
That's a switch.
Well, I've been thinking about it.
Come on, girl. It took me a whole day and 3 pints of blood to convince my mother. I don't want to have to start on you.
Well, I like to have things done for me.
Then give up Ralph and the play and move in with my mother. I'm out of mustard.
I don't care. What do you think of Ralph?
Where are you?
We're on the sofa.
Oh, I couldn't figure out where your voice was coming from.
You always could before.
I wasn't concentrating. He seemed very nice.
Who?
Ralph.
You didn't like him, did you?
I said he seemed very nice.
I could tell you didn't like him. You were a little uptight when he was here.
I'm always a little uptight when there's more than one person in the room. I have to figure out who's speaking and if he's speaking to me.
I guess you didn't like him because he was rude.
Was he rude?
Well, on Scarsdale, like that to your mother.
That was an accident. He didn't know she was from Scarsdale. I'm sorry you think he's rude.
I don't think he's rude.
Well, you said it. I didn't. Or is there someone else here?
I know he comes off as a little conceited.
Tell me, Jill, do you like Ralph?
What kind of question is that? I'm moving in with him, aren't I? And why would I move in with a guy I didn't like?
That was my next question.
I better be going.
Come to think of it, I guess I don't like Ralph.
I knew it all along. But why?
Like you said, he's rude and conceited.
But I'm trying to tell you he's not like that. I mean, I knew that's what you thought, but he's not all conceited.
And thanks a lot for making me feel his face.
Well, I thought you might like him better if you knew what he looked like. He's got a good face.
To look at, maybe, but it didn't come across to me. It didn't come across to the touch.
I'm sorry about that. I hoped we could all be friends. Well, I'd better.
You know something? I'm going to tell you something. You don't like Ralph.
Oh, God, I just packed 2 suitcases, which are sitting right over there so I can move in with him.
I don't care if you have 13 trunks. You don't like him.
Boy, you really are too much. You think just because you're blind, you can see everything.
That's right. That 6th sense we've got tells me you don't like Ralph Austin. How about that? Spooky, isn't it?
No, it's just stupid. I mean, I have 2 bags are packed and sitting right there.
Tell me, with Ralph, is it like the 4th of July and like Christmas?
Not exactly, but he's kind of strange. With him, it's more like Labor Day.
You think he's a beautiful person too?
In many ways, yes.
Has he got charisma?
Definitely.
Then I'm selling mine.
You'd better hurry. It's been known to fade away.
You love him?
Why would I answer that? No matter what I say, you've already made up your own mind.
Go ahead, answer it. Do you love him?
Yes. In my way.
This morning you told me you could never love anyone.
That was this morning. Am I allowed to change my mind, or has my first statement always been passed into law by Congress?
Look, I'm not the worldliest human being on the block, but I know that when you're rushing into the arms of the man you love, you don't stop for a corned beef sandwich on rye.
Which shows how little you know me. Some people wear their hearts on their sleeves. I wear my appetite.
Was it something my mother said?
Was something your mother said?
The reason you're leaving? The reason you didn't show up for dinner? I know you didn't forget. Was it something my mother said?
You don't even listen to your mother. Why should I?
Then why are you leaving? And don't give me that crap about loving Ralph.
I'm leaving because I want to leave. I'm free and I go when I want to go.
I thought it might have something to do with me.
It has nothing whatsoever to do with you.
Okay. You're scared to death of becoming involved, aren't you?
I don't want to get involved. I told you that.
That's right. You told me. No commitments, no responsibility.
I have to be able to get out if I get tired of
Tired of me?
anybody.
What if I got tired of you?
Me?
Doesn't anyone ever get tired of you?
I don't hang around long enough to find out.
With Ralph, you could get out anytime you feel like it. But it might be harder to walk out on a blind guy, right?
Well, the blindness has nothing to do with it. Nothing.
You know goddamn well it has. You wouldn't feel a thing walking out on Ralph or Sebastian or Irving, but if you walked out on little Donnie Dark, you might hate yourself, and you wouldn't like that, would you? Hate me or love me, but don't leave me because I'm blind, and don't stay because I'm blind.
Who are Sebastian and Irving?
Nobody. I made them up.
Sometimes I don't understand you. We don't think alike, and I know I'd only hurt you sooner or later. I don't want to hurt you.
Why not? You do it to everybody else. Why do I rate special treatment?
I don't want to be another Linda Fletcher. She hurt you, didn't she?
She helped me too. She was there when I needed her.
Can't promise that. I don't know where I'll be when you need me.
You need me a hell of a lot more than I need you.
I don't need anybody. I never did and I never will. I have to go now.
I'm glad you said have to and not want to.
Boy, I finally said something right. I'll be seeing you.
Yeah, I'll be seeing you. I'll think about you for years and wonder if you ever made a commitment, if you ever got involved.
I hope not.
Don't worry, it won't happen. Because you're emotionally retarded. Did you know that? That's why you couldn't face marriage. It's why you can't face anything permanent, anything real. You're leaving now because you're afraid you might fall in love with me, and you're too adolescent for that responsibility. And you're going to stay that way. Oh, God, I feel sorry for you. Because you're crippled. I'd rather be blind.
Jill exits, closing the door behind her. He turns, crosses to the table, and starts to clear setting. A fork drops to the floor. Don tries to figure out where the sound came from, then takes the plate and puts it in the sink. Suddenly, he crosses to his tape recorder and turns it on. We hear the last part of his song as he crosses to the kitchen, stumbling into a stool. He goes to the dining table and blows out the candles. His hand touches the flowers. With quiet anger, he crushes the flowers in his tight fist, then grabs a cloth and puts it off and pulls it off the table, knocking other things to the floor along with it. He crosses toward the living room. He bumps into the stool. He tosses it upstage out of the way. He stumbles against the edge of the sofa and falls to the floor. He lies on the floor by a coffee table with tears filling his eyes and no interest in getting up. The front door opens. Jill enters carrying her bags. She sets her bags down and looks around the room for Don. When she sees him, a look of pain comes on her face. Don sits up, quickly aware of someone in the room.
Who is it? Who's there?
The news is good. It's not your mother.
What are you doing here?
What are you doing on the floor?
I was about to have a picnic.
What a great idea.
Don starts to laugh with Jill. He reaches out for her. She goes into his arms and they cling together, laughing. Curtain.
Yay.